Hey Pierre, nice
Hi,
to see
Mark.
you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for taking the time, sir. Just for the people that are listening and don't have the benefit of knowing you for a while, like I do, why don't you tell people your name and a bit about yourself and a little bit about what you do?
Brilliant. My name is Pierre Montersino. I'm a CIO who has gone into business and IT transformation, and I've become an AI guru as well. So I've taken the opportunity to learn, upskill myself, train myself to be an AI expert, and I help businesses implement both transformation and AI solutions.
Amazing. Now, AI. So this is a tricky topic because when I get clients to speak about AI, we get varying degrees of people speaking about AI. So we get one degree, which is I'm going to pretend I know everything about it because I've got a bit of a natural interest in it, but I don't know quite how it applies to the business, but I can talk about it for a long time. And we have some of those clients, and they're great to speak to. And then we get other clients that try and avoid this conversation like the plague because they think they're going to start a ball rolling that they can't stop. And
Correct.
not everyone is doing AI great, but everyone's talking about it like they're doing great. And it's so hard to get this sort of impartial, not advice even, but this sort of rhetoric in terms of what people are actually doing and is it working. If you could shed a bit of light on that'd be great because we have a broad range of clients, and they have a broad range of acceptance of AI at the moment.
Sure. Thank you, Mark. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about AI, which is something I'm very passionate about. You're absolutely correct here, where there's a lot of people and there's a lot of hype around AI at the moment, and there's a lot of people talking about it. But in reality, there's more and more businesses which are taking up the opportunity to go with AI and Gen AI. Now, what's critical is that you can actually understand and get it right first time. As you said, there are people who have gone out and done the AI projects and they have failed. But really, they've failed primarily because they don't understand what AI is about. They don't understand what the business problem is. They don't really, clarify what the opportunity is and what this actually going to address, such as things like, for example, cost reductions, revenue generation, or operational efficiency. And that's
Yeah.
why they get it wrong, or the ethical sides. If, however, and where I've been had the opportunity is to go into an organization and actually sit with them and help them work through, for example, their data and their processes, and then we work with them to define their clear objectives, what they're trying to achieve, then those projects tend to be a lot more successful.
Yeah, okay. Well, that mirrors a lot of things. I remember the first time when ERP systems were coming out, and when these sort of end-to-end enterprise systems were coming out for all sorts of different sort of subject areas, and everyone's really keen to sort of jump in. And then there's some horror stories, and a lot of people at those times they forgot what the business reason was for the change, and they
Correct.
forgot in terms of, or didn't really care so much about recording the return on investment. Now, I think people have learned from that. People are less gung ho now with AI, but I think there is an element of some companies are scared to go fully into AI, and it's what I said earlier. It's about if they start the ball rolling, how difficult will it be to stop that? Now, is there a way to start getting some benefit from AI, but maybe have some stage gateways along the way so that that ball doesn't continue rolling if we don't want it to?
That's a very interesting question, but a very difficult one to answer, Mark. Once you start the ball rolling, you can have gateways and you can actually stop where you're going. So you can have checks what you're trying to do and build the validation into it.
Yeah.
But what it takes, where you need to be getting to, is to actually build yourself a business case to see how much it's actually going to cost you. But equally at the same time, take it in stages, because as you're seeing the progression of what you're doing, you'll see the uptake being a lot more. So, for example, I've always encouraged an organization to start small with a small proof of concept and then
Yeah.
build gradually and gradually. And that way, it's an incremental cost impact and an incremental changes to your organization. But because you're doing it slowly and cautiously, people are embracing it bit by bit, and then they'll actually see what the tangible benefits are, and then it'll go to the next stage, and that's where your CFO or your CEO can actually say, well, no, we want to curtail this into a certain aspect or certain way, and then tailor it as we need to do. But they also need to, at the same time, do consider that there are ongoing costs. It's not something it's a once-off setup. It's something that you have to do time and time again, and you have to continue to maintain it and keep the ethics and the data and the challenges right. Depending if you go for AI or Gen AI, there's a big difference between the two at the moment.
Can you tell me the difference? What's the difference between AI and Gen AI, please?
In a very, very simplistic term, I put AI as having data which is yours, which is kept internally, or you can keep it. You don't access anything from the outside the web. It's internal data, so historical data, but still needs data cleansing, where Gen AI actually uses information from both inside your organization and outside your organization and collates it, puts it together, and gives you the verbal reasoning. Now, there is challenges with using Gen AI. For example, there's hallucinations, which happen, but it's getting better and better with the information becoming more crisp and more vital to the organization, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I think these things do get better. I think there's no denying that AI will not go away. It's here to stay. It's just a progression of. So, I guess to some regard, like all these things, the quicker you get on board with it and start to learn about it, the easier things get. But if I've got a client, let's say, let's pick an average size client for us, which is sort of 4, 5, 600 million, maybe 3 or 4 operating companies within that. They've got multiple clients, which are B2B or B2G. So now we're including government and government contracts in these as well. Where would you suggest they start with AI just to get themselves familiar with it, start seeing some business benefit, and maybe that can then add to the business case to then start to expand this?
So there's 3 key areas where there's a lot of uptake with AI at the moment. One is in the CFO or the Chief Financial Officer's area, where they're looking to do some improvements. A lot of the mundane tasks which are done by your accounting team can be simplified and automated to make it easier for you. The other one is on the HR side, where you can actually use a lot of the AI tools to simplify and automate a lot of your processes as well. And then the third side is really on your supply chain. So you can look at efficiencies in areas of how you can reduce some of your downtimes or your outputs and speed that process up a lot more. And then as you start building, then you can start rolling it out to a bigger and wider audience as you can pick up the expertise.
Okay, thank you. I mean, what you said there is mirroring what we're seeing. We're probably seeing that slightly biased towards the CFO at the moment. Correct. In terms of finance. I think that seems to be, when you start bringing AI into management information and reporting, especially, that seems to have quite a big impact on the board. I'd also say, I was having a discussion with a client, it was about 3 weeks ago, and they were recruiting a new CFO. The new chief exec had come in, and they were bringing in a new CFO to support the new chief exec. And one of the areas that they were speaking, this is a permanent role, by the way, and one of the areas that was one of their top areas that they wanted to talk about was the candidates must have at least some experience of bringing AI into that organization. I don't think it's going to be long before all clients of a reasonable size are going to start asking for this as one of the primary skill sets from a CFO. I've not seen that kind of understanding of what the future will be in terms of technology, probably since the days of early SAP and early ERP. I think it's going to be that important for hiring managers going forward. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. It's going to be fundamental. But where we have a challenge at the moment is that it's still the new shiny tool. So I still say it. I still clarify that it's not the latest tool that we are rolling out, and it's only a tool, and each company needs to use it. Second thing I just want to advocate here is there's more and more organizations that are embracing and using AI to their advantage. And those organizations that don't use it will actually lose out to those who actually adopt to do it quicker than anybody else. The second part of the equation we have there is that there's a lot of people and they are asking for more and more AI skills, and there are people on the uptake picking up the skills, but there is still a bit of a gap in that market at the moment. So only some of the big companies do have some of the skill sets, and they hang on to those people with dear life because they are literally gold dust. They're the golden thread that actually makes it hold together. So give it time, and you'll see more and more of it being embraced, and more technology taking it on board, or more organizations taking it on board. But you still haven't got the skilled people to do that yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'm also looking forward to the really positive case studies. They're going to start coming out soon. In the next year, 18 months, 2 years. I hope as well that the clients are going to start using AI for an element of cost reduction. My suspicion is that businesses are needing to start to go through an element of a cost reduction phase coming soon. And often when there's a cost reduction phase, people will put a hold on the ERP system or something like that. I think this might work in reverse. I think people might, or clients might be giving authorization to business cases that involve AI that then in turn reduce operating costs into the organization. That's quite an exciting time for a recruiter that deals a lot in transformation. That feels like an exciting time for me. Now, have I got that right, or is that not right? Is that not how AI can be used? Can it be used for cost reduction?
Yes, the AI tools are there to significantly reduce your costs. But I need to make it clear here. When I talk to a lot of CEOs and CFOs, I'm getting a lot of interpretation, misinterpretation. For example, I had a CEO talk to me the other day, and he says, "I think AI is going to be my silver bullet that's going to actually help me fix my problems I have in my organization." And it's only when I sat down with him and I said, "Well, actually, it's not going to. You can't reduce your costs of your people. You can reduce your processes. You can reduce the way you're managing that. You're managing your data. You will get much richer and greater content from it. But initially, you need people to check what you're actually doing because of all the challenges and all the issues. So all the all the mishaps and all the misinformation you get from it, you need somebody to validate that." So when I explain to them, I show them where the experiences I've had of actually implementing it. I've shown them how it reduces the process time, makes it quicker. So for example, a good way of talking about it is a lot of the reports that are generated at the moment, which take 4, 5, 6 days, now will take 4 or 5 hours instead. You can save a huge amount of time and free your team up to do other tasks that are out there, which are as equally critical. So it's not a case of reducing your team. It's a case of making it slicker, better, and making your team more reliant on information and technology than they were in the past.
Okay, no, that's interesting. I think I'm trying to think as an investor. If I was an investor in, let's say it's a private equity backed organization, couple of $100 million, and I'm working on the investor side. I think the questions I'd be asking in the boardroom of the business would be, okay, how are the sales tracking? How are they tracking year on year? What's the forward projection? All those standard questions. I think the new questions I'd be asking is, well, how are our numbers comparing to the competition? And Correct. I think with generative AI, we can find that out. And you can find that out quickly, and you can build that into reports. Correct. That starts becoming really powerful for the investor, but also really powerful for the chief exec, because the chief exec is going to want something from the investor, whether it's more investment into more technology or more investment into more people, or they're going to want the investor to make some decisions. If you can help the decision-making process by giving the information not only in your business but across the whole industry, and then drawing comparisons, surely that makes the investor's decision easier.
I totally agree with you. I think that's a very nicely way of putting it.
Okay, brilliant. Well, I think we're going to see more and more of this coming through. It surprised me a few weeks ago when a client was very insistent on hiring a CFO on a permanent basis that had the AI skills. That's the first time that we've been asked about that. And I think that's the start of more to come. But generally what we're seeing at the moment is clients, asking for AI to be part of something that's part of a genuine business reason. So cost reduction, improving efficiencies, target operator model change, those things. But I can certainly see the future of AI coming through, and we're seeing it in real terms now.
Totally agree with you there. Again.
So Pierre, when you're speaking to a client or a potential client, what process do you go through to give them the confidence that one, AI is something that they should be embracing for the future, and second, give them the understanding, the comfort, the confidence that this isn't going to get out of hand very quickly?
One of the things we do up front, and one of the things I like doing, is actually sitting down with the executives and some of the subject matter experts, and actually working with them to understand what it is they want to do and what their understanding of AI is. So I'm very proud to say that I have a really, really good trainer with me who can educate both executives and the senior people, and also some of the subject matter experts and other people on actually what AI can and can't do. So that to me is one of the most important, critical steps in going forward. And while I'm doing that, I'm actually going back to, and what our process is we go back to the executives again and say, what are your objectives? What are you trying to achieve? What is it you want to get out of AI, and what are your competitors doing? So we can actually look at what the competitors are doing compared to what they are doing, and then we can start matching up some of those challenges and differences they have. Then we look at our processes, or a simple way of flow is then we look at what is the most easiest, or their data. So the first thing we do is we go back, we look at the data, we check the quality of the data, where they're getting it from. We also then look at their processes, and we actually help any organization fix their data if they have any data issues, and also fix their processes if they haven't been updated or current. We then start looking at simplifying that, and we start mapping out the simple processes, and then we link that with the data, and then we start building a pilot with the subject matter experts they have to take it forward to the next level. So we do something small, cautious, and carefully. So it's a small phased approach, which then builds the confidence in the team and the people. And we also, at the same time, train the people up so that you have the skill and the capability within your organization, rather than having to buy it in, which is a costly thing to do.
No, that's great. I like the stage gateway approach. I think a lot of clients that we speak to that have got meaningful projects and programs to deliver, for whatever reason, they're always a little hesitant. I think it comes from maybe the days of bringing in some sort of large management consultancies where you can end up with a team of people really quickly, and then before you know it, the costs are more than what you were expecting, and everyone's sort of lost sight of the small things which can be the quick wins along the way. And that's not me sort of pulling down the consultancies in particular. I just think that if you can start with one person or maybe two people rather than 10 people, you're going to have a lot more control in terms of your understanding of AI and how you bring that into your organization.
Correct. I mean, what I'm seeing here is an uptake in a lot of organizations who are fixing their data now in an anticipation of actually going forward with AI into next year. So understanding and building into a small scope of work initially, and then understanding what it is, and then looking at the processes before embarking in 2025 on the AI journey.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I think that will give some of our clients, some of our potential clients, some of our people that are listening with budget, it'll give them some confidence that they can start this slowly. They can keep the business benefit in mind at all times. There's not too many people doing this. It's going to be non-destructive. But ultimately, what they are doing is going down the track of embracing it, because let's be honest, it's not going away.
Correct. It's
Brilliant.
Absolutely, it's going to just grow and grow and grow. And as I said, and I'm sorry to say it again, is you will be replaced by people and organizations who embrace AI rather than those who don't.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that completely. Pierre, thank you very much for your time, sir. I think that's helped me. I genuinely didn't know the difference between generative AI and AI. Now I do, and I won't forget it. Like all these things, I think if someone was going to say to me, I'm going to explain generative AI, I'd be like, oh no, this is going to take ages. It's going to be complicated. You explain that really, really simply. If you can apply that sort of more simplistic methodology to something that I think is very complicated, then surely that's where clients are seeing a lot of benefit.
one of the things I do, and it's a little bit of an area, is I kind of describe it as a car. So you want to buy a car, do you want a big car, you want a small car, and then the one size engine, do you want inside there as well? Do you want 3 wheels or 4 wheels? And then you can start expanding. And that's what we talk about and that's the model I use when I talk to executives, because then they can understand that because there are so many complexities in Gen AI and so much to understand, that it's only somebody who's actually done it before can understand and help you go forward to help you to keep the cost down. So that's the most important thing. And I always keep it a simple KISS analogy, which is keep it short and simple.
Well, a business-focused approach to AI and that more simplistic explaining of it has been helpful to me. I'm sure it's going to be helpful to the people out there as well. Pierre, thank you very much for your time, sir. I've known you a little while now, and you explain things great, and I can only thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Bye.